Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had what was yeah 16,000 SMSs per day. I Then
Yeah.
you moved to WhatsApp. I think I was always late, so I first started. I didn't have an Android phone. My first WhatsApp. So I think it was second year when we were in second year, and there was this
Yeah.
WhatsApp group where it was formed. I was using an Android emulator on my computer and a normal phone, and I'd be typing stuff. And oh, okay, that's happening. And then I think it was third year or somewhere. Like I kind of realized where there's important messages and assignments and stuff which like news about college being conveyed over WhatsApp, and that's when my dad was like, okay, so I think this is important. Then you need to
Yeah.
get a phone
See, when
like
it
that.
when it comes to marks, that's when the parents are convinced.
Yeah.
That is true. That is
Yeah,
true.
because I felt that do I really need this? And then when I got it, I was like, oh shit. The first time
It's the real deal. It's the
it's the
real
real
deal.
fucking deal.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
still remember 12th grade, I'm in SP college. Mithilesh Gauri was the first person who showed me WhatsApp because he had the WhatsApp phone at that time. He was like, look at this. I send a
Yeah.
message, hi, and it goes there. And he's like, oh, so this is just like messaging. He's like, yes, but then you do this online. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And no,
I
I
cannot
remember at
even
that
remember.
at that time it was I was like, sure, you can do it and that's great, but then
Yeah, I think, why
internet
do you
was
need
just as
it? Like,
hard to get. I was like,
yeah, I mean,
why would you subscribe to like an internet service which is way
internet
more expensive
service,
than I can just use
exactly,
SMS?
exactly. And at that time, those SMSs didn't like you didn't run out 16,000 messages. You didn't run
Yeah.
out of them.
At that
There
point we were
was
at a point where you
No,
don't run out
it's
of
just,
messaging.
excuse me. I think this is just an
okay.
indication of
This
how
is
single we were at that
single.
time.
Yeah, maybe that is
16,000,
true
if you
though.
run out of 16,000 messages, I think
No,
that's
but the way we used to do this was we used to have you had this thing called a SMS bomber? So there would be one message with just one dot, and we'd send this to like 100 messages to like friends. We're in class. We'd say the message just had one dot in it, and we just send that. So 100 messages. The phone would go. What the fuck is this?
I have no idea what
Because
you're talking about.
yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're right, it's right. And all of those times, like 11, 12 is when relationships were starting to happen and people were dating, and then because we had nobody fucking to talk through the night, so our messages used to be just poof.
Yeah.
See, I have no idea about the bomber SMS thing. I just remember that I didn't have, like, my mom didn't recharge it enough for me to have like texting packs and stuff. It was just
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
ki, have you reached, have you come back? Because I used to have like tuitions at that point, like in 10th or something, when I had
Yeah.
my first Nokia 1100. I
Mm-hmm.
had a tuition at like 6 a.m. in the morning for my Hindi classes.
Yeah, yeah.
For when I would get picked up and things in the van, she'd be like,
Wait,
have you?
when is this? Like, is this 12th standard?
No, no,
No,
10 standard, 2010.
10th standard. Huh.
2010.
Yeah, yeah, 2009,
10th
2010.
standard, yeah. 10th standard, I didn't actually have a phone. I wasn't allowed to
Yeah,
have one.
even
Like,
even I
Well,
didn't.
it was because,
Yeah.
well, I was allowed because I was out of the house at like 6 a.m. and
Yeah.
mom was in school at like 7. Dad was never
Yeah.
home because he was in Gujarat. So it was just like to make sure that I was alive. And again, so I didn't have anything outgoing. Here's the thing, I didn't have
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
outgoing. Everything was just incoming.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
allowed, like, I was just picking up phones.
Wait, were you
Um,
also like a add-on on your mom's plan or something like that? Because I remember that
yes.
was my first one. Yeah.
Yes, so Idea had a lot of great plans back
Great plans.
then.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Yeah.
I think back in 2009. Oh, it was like the top provider at that time, right? So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
Yeah.
really good, like, and for a minor, I think they had like free add-on plans and things like that as well. So I was on one of those, and I wouldn't get any, like, I wouldn't text anything, but I would get a lot of messages, and like I would like, yeah, like I would just basically pick up the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, even if the thing with those were like, even if, and I think that was the beauty of things at the time, that even though I didn't have any outgoing, I could still just like ring the phone. So like, if I had, like, if there
Missed
was an
calls.
emergency,
Yeah.
so missed call basically, because there was no money in it. Even if it connected, it would just drop. So I just remember being in touch with mom like that.
Right.
However, once I did get a phone in like 11, 12, because again, we were both outside the house for entire days and things like that. Then I had an SMS pack, but I never even knew that there was a 16,000 pack car, because that's when I developed how to talk in that SMS language, which was
Yeah.
R for like ARE becomes R, and then YOU becomes U, and then there becomes DR and question mark. So I'm
No
like,
way. No way. I was never in this train. I was like, I'm gonna type like a human being. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is not happening.
but you do realize that SMS packs were like character driven as well, right? So if you were like, if, like when I was fighting with my friends on like text messages, and I had a lot to say. I had to, I had to learn how to make.
Improvise, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like the whole Twitter model came from like this SMS thing anyway, right? Like you had to
Yeah.
put
It
everything
did.
in like
Yeah.
200 words,
Yeah.
convey your message, like be concise. So
But I was never, I think. So I got my phone in 11th standard after my 10th result is when I
Same.
got my
Same.
phone, which I took to the gym, and it got stolen out of my bag in like two
Arr.
weeks. It was like I
Oh,
remember specifically
heartbreaking.
I got
Heartbreaking.
it was so bad. It was so bad. Like I
Oh.
got my first phone. Dad brought it like Baba Dubai Made Hote. When he came back, he bought a new phone from there. He's like, "Your nice phone, वगैरह."
Oh. Oh.
2 weeks gone, gone. And I was like a naive kid. I remember I took it to the gym and I was like showing it off and everything. Look, new phone. Dad brought it from Dubai, वगैरह. And somebody clearly saw it and was like, "There you go. You're
Oh.
fucked."
make sure you don't do the same with your
Don't
Tesla
say.
now.
Yeah. But this was so
Man.
bad, no? Like I've had so many, like right through school, you get something new, and you the moment you show it off to your friends, something happens. Like somebody
Man.
fucks it up. Oh, oh man.
But then the side effect
Happening to
of
me,
that
I
was
wouldn't really limit it to school. It's still happening to me. So,
yeah, I think that never goes away. Especially the fear. Now that we know that that happens, the fear never
Yeah.
goes away. Yeah. No, but what I was saying was the side effect of this was because I lost my first phone. The second phone I got was like super basic, and I didn't have the heart to ask for like a text pack or messaging pack or whatever. So I had none of that, and whole 11th, 12th, I don't even know what plan I was on. Like I was that far back, and I never used my phone. I never ever
Yeah.
used my phone. And then I got that Sony Ericsson, and then so my real introduction to messaging and all of that was first year. And you know how Susanna texts? She's like,
Hi. How are you doing?
yeah,
hi,
Hi.
single
Hi.
how are
single
you?
How are
messages,
you
yeah.
What's happening?
doing? I remember that. Oh.
So talking to her was always like I was replying single messages. So WhatsApp was a lifesaver for me at that point.
I honestly like I feel like WhatsApp I know it's not real, but I feel like WhatsApp has been around for so long that I don't remember when I actually started using it. But I remember Instagram, but I don't actually remember when I physically started using like WhatsApp. It feels so
Yeah,
ingrained at a part of our lives at the moment.
Yeah, I remember
definitely.
it exactly because like I was using everyone's on WhatsApp because of
Emulator.
that Android emulator because that was the only that's why I only remember. Otherwise, it's now it's like you've got our like grandmothers hooked onto WhatsApp, man. It's
Totally.
mad.
Oh my god.
It is mad.
Everyone is on WhatsApp. Everyone, I think eh, it's like how far ingrained are you in the social media is how
Facebook is
old you
I
are.
feel Facebook is dying out. Like the
Facebook is
actual
dying
thing.
out. It is. The
Like
only people left on Facebook are like uncles, like old uncles now.
parents.
Not
No,
even
but
I
parents,
don't
even
think
my
I
parents
don't
have
think
left.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think
yeah,
there is a small percentage, but there is a small but significant
it's
percentage of people who are in their late 30s to probably late early
yeah
50s who
no
started out like because you know how we are the Instagram generation?
yeah
They're the Facebook generation, right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
I also think it's a cultural thing because when I moved here, most of the Brits that I know they still use Facebook Messenger. Like
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah. That's
don't
actually
use
true. Yeah.
they don't use Instagram. They don't really use any other ways to even WhatsApp was really
Uh,
less. They use Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, and I found that Facebook Messenger has a nice crossover between people who use other platforms for daily messaging. For example, a lot
Yeah.
of my Asian friends used to use WeChat for everything,
Oh
but then
yeah.
they always had Facebook Messenger as well. So I
Yeah.
started using Facebook Messenger because it was like common ground. Everyone had Facebook,
Oh
It's very
man,
but they
interesting,
WeChat
weren't
is
on
right?
mad.
Instagram. So yeah,
WeChat is mad, man. WeChat. So most of my Chinese friends, they're on. That is another whole network that we have absolutely
yeah.
no clue about, and they
Oh
are
my
so
god,
well connected. Everything's on
it's
WeChat. They have.
crazy.
It's mad.
Well, it's
It is.
crazy, right? I was in Singapore and people use it to buy things.
Yeah,
They
yeah. They
use it
buy
as
everything.
they use it as like the way we use Apple Pay. They
Apple
use
Pay. Yeah,
that
yeah.
for paying
Yeah,
at everywhere. They
People,
use it
yes.
for shopping online. They use it for ordering cabs. They use it for ordering
Yep.
food. They use it for
dude, people
ordering.
buy like houses on WeChat.
Houses on it. Yep.
I
I
did
was
not
like,
know
what
that. How?
the?
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
It's
So
crazy. One of my old housemates actually found one of our rentals on WeChat because it was
yeah.
an Asian investor who had invested in a property in Belconnen, but wasn't even actually in Australia. And they left, and that's how we
So
found it.
they.
And we got so fucking lucky because of it. Like we got a great deal. It was just the two of us, and it was not
Yeah.
advertised anywhere else. So there
That's
was
the
like
thing.
no,
You can advertise things, and that's what I've got like two or three like these random stuff because one of my Chinese I just told her, hey, keep an eye out. Look, I want to buy this. Just let me
yeah,
know if something pops up on that market, and then it does because there's
nice.
loads of Chinese students who are just using that as their primary source if they want to sell things off, and
Well,
it is
it's
That
like
is
the
it's
so
equivalent of
cool.
their
Yeah.
like it's the equivalent of marketplace for them, right?
marketplace.
Like
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It's great, but the amount of reach actually is something that I admire. You know, they have not lost that connectivity despite borders,
yeah.
despite. It's bad in a way because I always found it hard to break into those groups because they are so well connected. It always comes down to convenience, right? Like there's so much effort for
Yeah.
them to include someone who doesn't use any of the platforms, who doesn't understand the language. Uh, but then you got to give it to them. That part aside, that group is so well connected because of, man, incredibly well connected.
I'll have
Yeah.
to take your word for it.
Can
I
we
mean,
talk about? Oh, can we? Sorry, can we like talk about? I don't want this to go into WeChat because
Yeah.
that's a whole different conversation. But
Hmm.
uh, we talked about your introduction to WhatsApp. But what was like your introduction to internet in general?
Oh.
Internet was like this whole thing which,
Oh.
oh my god. Obviously, I think my first memory of internet is when I saw it in my dad's office, VSNL.
Hmm.
It had those two icons we used to
Yeah.
flash,
Yeah.
and the thing, and it was like those windows are flashing means it's communicating, so that's how you know
Communicating.
the
Yeah.
line is still alive. And you
Oh.
have to hover over that to know that, oh, it's still alive. Okay, if you hover over it, it used to start blinking, and then you're like, oh, it's still alive. Okay, I have internet.
Hmm.
And I saw that in my dad's office. Obviously, no internet at home. This is
Hmm.
when we would have been in sixth standard, seventh standard, something like that.
Oh, okay.
And dad used to use it only for email for his business and nothing else because it
Yeah.
was exorbitantly pricey.
Hmm.
Uh, but my uncle in Mumbai, he used to live in the ARAI quarters, and they had like a internet which was subsidized because it was sponsored. Like it came through the government, right? So it was heavily subsidized. So my cousins had internet at home, and
Oh.
they used to tell us, oh, we chat with people, like we chat
Oh.
with people all night, and uh it's like cool and everything, and I'm like and then my parents are like, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Why the shit?
Also, like Stranger Danger, right? 2006, you were only in
Yeah.
sixth grade.
Sixth
Like, what
grade. Yeah.
even?
And my
Do
cousin
you
was
all
much older than me, so it was like she
Yeah.
could do it. Obviously, it was okay for her to do it, not okay for me to do it. I was
Hmm.
in sixth standard. My parents are like, you better not
Hmm.
Well,
talk to
I don't
anyone
know.
online.
Well, I don't know how what Sadan has to say about this, but I think my introduction to internet was quite late after it was available to everybody, because I didn't have anybody older, like an older sibling, to make that introduction to me.
Yeah.
So like my parents were obviously like sure, like maybe they knew, maybe they didn't, but like dad was in manufacturing, mom is a teacher, she wasn't using like Google Cloud at the time, like didn't even exist, so there was like no exposure whatsoever. So my first experience, if I think correctly, was in the computer lab in the school, because school had a connection, like we had like the techno labs
Same.
and stuff like that. And I think the first thing they were teaching us was like HTML and what HTML is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like basically my exposure to it started with like you can look up anything on this,
Same.
so
Yeah.
you could put
Yeah.
anything in a search box and it would spit information to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And then I had school friends who had older siblings who had then gone and looked at things on YouTube. So that's when I first heard about YouTube, and that was then my exposure to YouTube. So that was my
Yeah.
introduction. But
I thought,
you
I for a very long time thought that the Google search bar was to find websites that you already knew. So I used to type like Gmail into the Google search bar and then go to Gmail. It was
Well, I'm
like,
not gonna lie, I still do that sometimes when I'm like in a rush, like, and I need to get into my email, and say if I'm on like another phone or something, I'll go into Safari and I'll just be like
Yeah.
Gmail. And like still
yeah.
go on Gmail and like still go on like Google search bar will come up and I'll still go Gmail and then type on it and like
At
click on
that
it and
point,
go.
like we had access to all of this information. Like we could have typed anything in, and we only typed in things we already knew. I
Same.
am baffled by that.
Yeah. I
No,
had I
but
had a
that was
similar
also like a
experience.
time to validate, right? Ki like, hey,
Yeah.
kharat ahe ki nahi? Because I was like, I don't know what part of this is true. I don't know what part, like, you didn't know,
Yeah.
right? Like that point, there was no exposure whatsoever. I wasn't out there reading like newspapers and the Indian Express at that
Yeah.
time, trying to find out about like
Yeah.
things that I don't know. I don't think we should talk about here. Like it's too soon. But I was like, maybe I can just go and check. Like, does the Earth really revolve around the sun? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's very
No, I
stupid.
think
It's
I
like a very stupid
it's
example.
but I think mine was similar thing because my parents didn't use it. So like internet came home at I think what when I was in 11th or 12th grade. It's like I remember
No,
pulling the
that's
BSNL wire from somewhere from the window and putting it in, and
Yup.
that
Yup.
ruined my life. I could have been in a so much better college if that didn't happen. But anyway, like before that, it was
Wait,
yes, I
how?
think fifth
What
or
did you
sixth.
do? What was the first thing you did when you got onto the internet? Because the first thing
First thing
I
I did
did
was
was
at
I
that time I
created
was
an email
Facebook.
address.
No, the email.
Oh
Please,
yes,
that
Facebook.
happened.
Oh no,
Like
not
if
Facebook. Sorry, no, Orkut.
or
Were you
no,
on
but yeah,
Orkut?
no, I was never on
Oh
Orkut.
man, dude, I
We had
got cred
so
in school
that
because I was on Orkut.
that happened. So see, again, so my introduction was similar to Mukta. We had that in school. So I think the first time they had told us it was a homework in class six or something. Make an
Uh-huh.
email address. So I went with
Yep.
my dad to some cyber cafe.
damn it.
So I still have the. I still have that Yahoo email, the email address that I have, and then you have to. I had to send an email to the computer. Hi, this is reporting. This is my email address. Okay, so you have created that, and
Oh
then
my god.
and at that point I was still doing things like you said HTML and all of that. I used to so computer class, so there was of course you're doing HTML, you're doing I think C++ at that time. This is 6th, 7th, we were learning all of these languages. We'd get like final 10 minutes where we'd be like, oh, what would you search? I'd go, okay. And this is I think peak of 8th grade where our class was divided into Manchester United fans and Arsenal fans. And we would look at, okay, Wayne Rooney wallpaper and like random things like that you would search. But that was just it.
Yeah.
But then after that,
Yeah.
internet was for me was still every Sunday go to the cyber cafe and I had a Facebook account and send some message. Oh, I have to send him a message. Hi, have I received any messages
Hi.
during the week? And
Yeah.
that was it.
Used to
But
just
it
write
was
on random people's wall like hi.
yeah, hi, hello,
like
and like
like my grandparents do now. Yes.
yeah,
Well, do you remember? Well, I think my actual exposure to like one, it was of course YouTube, but from YouTube, after YouTube, I didn't have like a MySpace or Orkut phase. I think I had like maybe like I had a Yahoo chat room phase, but then after that, immediately Facebook came into the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was during that time when like we were still in school, so Twilight was happening, Taylor Swift was happening, Jonas Brothers were happening. So I remember there was like this whole thing where my school friends had supposedly made friends with like Nick Jonas and like the Jonas Brothers, and they were chatting with him, and I was like, wait, I want to do that. It was
Oh
really,
God.
but
Oh my
and like
god.
it felt so legit at the time, right? And I was like, I don't want to talk to any of like I was like, I only want to talk to one specific Jonas, and that was like Joe Jonas at the time. So I'm like only befriending him, and my friends are like, no, we're talking to everybody. I was like, what? That's crazy. So like that is like some of my earliest memories of like Facebook, like
Oh
Yahoo
man.
chat, sure, but I think it was very
I can just imagine there is some guy somewhere with a Joe Jonas DP who was like getting all of these messages from all of these schoolgirls and just
you
sitting
know
there
what?
and
Knowing
laughing.
my luck, he was probably like a 40-year-old dude somewhere in like the West.
Some-
So who knows? Who knows? Okay, obviously it had to be the West. I don't think like I don't know. I don't know if you guys wanted to be Joe Jonas at the time. So there was like nobody probably in the
Yeah.
East of Asia doing that. Who knows?
Oh my god.
But
Do
yeah,
you
I
guys
think
I
remember when do you guys remember, by the way, did you guys ever have to when you got your Gmail addresses? I remember I got my Gmail address when you still only could get it by invite. Did you guys have that?
no.
no.
No, I
I
So
didn't
think
get
initially,
it.
Gmail, if you're on Gmail, they would let you send 50 invites, and that's it. And
Oh.
you have to be very careful about who you send your invite to. So I had to like convince one of my cousins, ki, no, no, please send me one of your invites. I really want to create an email address. So she sent me an invite to my Yahoo address, and then I had a Gmail address, and then I was the cool
Oh.
guy. I was like, I have 50 invites. You want one? I convince me, and then I will send you one. And this is like 2008 or something. No, not yeah, 2008, when it was that rare. Like it was a rare commodity to have an email address from Google.
Yeah.
I
So
yeah, I can't remember. I had a Yahoo. Yahoo was so accessible at the time, right? Like, and it was one of the, I think at that time it was the best search engines ever. Like Yahoo
Best
Answers
search
was doing
engine.
really
Yeah.
well. The news section was doing really well. The chat room was really interesting. You could go and find anybody. Like I think I was talking to strangers at a certain point, but like obviously it never kind of substantiated into anything.
yeah,
And
clearly Joe Jonas.
no,
Yeah.
no, Joe Jonas was in Facebook. Joe Jonas, don't.
Yeah.
Joe Jonas was in Facebook. How can you befriend like a Joe Jonas on like Yahoo? I wasn't that silly, like
Yeah.
because like there would be other people named Joe Jonas, right? But like Joe Jonas on Facebook with like his pictures and everything. So I was like, oh, cool, like whatever.
Yeah.
And like the guys in the school were like, oh, we're friends with like Selena Gomez, and I'm like, yeah, sure, cool, good for you.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing that
Oh, did you
happened.
guys ever have? Sorry. Did you guys ever have testimonials? So
No.
this was a thing that Orkut did. Like Orkut did not have walls. Orkut did not have any of these other things. Orkut had testimonials. So you had to convince your friends from school. I think bishops would have had this craze, right? At some
So
point.
the thing was, see, that was the thing. That's why I was so one. We didn't have internet at home, so only time I
Yeah.
would like once in a while go to the cyber cafe and access internet. But there was a scandal in Bishops. Okay, there was some Orkut room where someone had posted some pictures of a teacher. Okay, and it went
Oh.
mad. It went mad. Someone like had like cropped a photo or something like that, and
Oh
it was
no.
crazy. Like in the morning assembly, I like there are there's some memories of your time that you remember. This I remember crystal clear that our principal was there. What is happening on Orkut? How dare you do this and all of that? And I was like, oh, thank God I'm not on it, man. Thank God I don't have internet at home. Because we were being grilled. Like it was bad. Every
Right.
class teacher had, I think, like they had like a crackdown thing where everyone was like like the parents were being called and everything, and we were like, my friend, we don't have internet at home, so he's not using, and there's nothing going
Oh
on.
my god.
But yes, there was a craze of Orkut and like all of these testimonies. I don't know what it was because I've never used Orkut, but
It was stupid, dude. It was honestly stupid. Where if you are on Orkut, people can write testimonials about you. It's like
Oh, okay.
I think
They
it
could
was the
review
online
us.
version of Slam Book.
It is
They
like
could review
it's
us
like the
basically.
LinkedIn the LinkedIn. Well, you have that on LinkedIn,
Endorsements.
Yeah,
LinkedIn
yeah, yeah,
endorsements.
exactly.
Oh,
Well, I think see this, but like to Sid's point, like to Sid Butkar's point, right? It was like an advantage and a disadvantage to have
yeah,
the kind of the level of exposure that we had at that point,
had
right? Because
yeah.
also like when I like when I think about my school days and like getting internet and being on YouTube and like getting all these information, it was also the time when we were becoming like young adults. Like at that, like we were like
Yeah.
teenagers, like hormones were running, we were obviously very curious. So I remember friends who had, or like people who had like siblings and stuff, and obviously like they were starting to get an exposure of the dark side of internet like at that time, right? And like they like that was like an early introduction to like things that I don't know how it worked out for them. Everybody's like a functioning human being, but at that time there was like a lot of stuff coming out that, oh, kids are talking about this, kids are doing this, they're watching this on the internet, and they're doing this on the internet. And in the meantime I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I have never seen this. हे असं पण होतं, असं पण दिसतं. But then you couldn't go into like the school's
Yeah.
Yeah.
computer lab and look it up, because then we still, like at that age I still knew what a browser history was. So yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
you find out
do you
about things
remember
like browser
those?
history first.
Do you
Yeah.
do you remember there were cyber cafes were running really high at that time. There were these cyber cafes which were like which had cabins, right? So they have a separate cabin with doors and everything. And I still remember because we were going to these. My mom and dad or like someone would go and check first. So if there's a cyber cafe which has a door and a cabin, they would इकडे नाही जायचं. Go to a one which has like a
I
second
suddenly understand what this is.
and I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh my
And
god,
then,
Mayday, what we be talking
and,
about?
and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my god.
And seriously, there were so one of so I think in my society that used to happen. Hey, should we go? So like there were times when you'd have like these 5 or 6 kids in one
Yeah.
cabin, like all hold on to one computer, and something was happening. They were watching things.
See,
And,
I don't know what kind of
Oh
internet
my
speed they were
god.
getting. I don't know what they were watching, but none of it was enjoyable at all because things were still
yeah.
getting loaded by like strips.
Loaded. No, I mean that's the thing. I mean I mean I never had like this stash of magazines and everything, but when I look at this, why like if you look at in America and all of that, that stash of magazines that was so guarded because that was like your it was rare, right? It was
Yeah.
rare.
And then people used to create stashes of websites that they knew,
Websites
because a
that they
lot of the
knew.
times this horde of kids used to go into this one cabin in a cyber cafe and not know where to
Not
go
know where to
because
go.
how do you find
And
out?
and and all of that. I remember like my like earliest time. This is early super things. This was still the time when you had music CDs. So that shopping camp
Oh yeah.
Saregama, right? So you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
there and
yeah,
I still have like a Brian Adams CD, like a
yeah. Oh
full
yeah.
of songs. But then this was the time when songs.pk something had come up like that for the first time. So my only task would be if I'm going to the cyber cafe, like so 10 rupaye, you get 1 hour. You go there.
Yep.
This song, it's not here. Oh no, this download that. Get a. And I had
Get a
that.
USB. Yeah.
Not a USB. I had that. It was called an MP3 player where you'd have like
Oh
a
yeah,
two GB or
yeah.
something, and you could put some songs on it. So I downloaded this song and then put it in, and then get it. Oh, I have that song now. Oh, too good.
I don't know if I should actually consider
Oh my god.
myself like a part of history and lucky, or if I was just like whatever I was using was just outdated. But I used a floppy disk for a couple of my assignments in the school. So like I
Really?
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
I was
So
like
No.
even for me it was like my dad used to stay because he was a civil engineer. He was doing his drawings and everything. So at that time there was no internet at home, but we had a computer at home, so we used to bring work home. I have done so many फोन ही ती फ्लॉपी घे ते एवढं ड्रॉइंग कॉपी करून ठेवून दे मी येऊन घेऊन जाईन वगैरे. I have done all of those things.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
Yeah,
used to burn. I used
floppies,
to
huh?
burn CDs. I remember for
Oh,
one of my
that phase, the
birthdays.
DVD phase. So the DVDs
Yeah,
would be very
DVD
expensive.
phase.
Oh, then there was a
Like I
time
used to
when
get blank CDs and then
rewritable DVD.
rewritable. Yeah.
I
Oh,
remember
Dude,
getting
I used to put Age of Empires on like
yeah,
the disc,
yeah.
the
Oh,
cracked version. Give it to
I
my
had,
friends.
I had some like my older cousins. They would have, "Arey, ha game mala deshil ka?" So
Huh.
then it wouldn't fit on that CD. Then oh shit, nahi, never DVD.
Oh
Like
my god,
no,
dude, it
oh,
was
that was another
so
phase.
good. Oh,
Oof.
I remember for one of my birthdays, I actually put Herbie. Does anyone know the movie, the Herbie
Herbie
the
Yeah,
car?
fully
fully
loaded.
loaded, fully
Herbie
loaded.
fully
Oh,
loaded. I burned Herbie fully loaded on like, and it didn't fit on one CD, so I had to
ja.
burn two CDs for everyone. And I gave that as a return gift on my birthday. Everyone was like, "Oh
Oh,
fuck,
fuck.
Were
crazy."
you using, by the way, what were you using to burn it? Were you using LimeWire? Because I was using LimeWire at the time.
Oh, there was this.
I don't
There was a
remember. It
software called
was
Nero. There was. I remember that
Nero,
software.
Nero,
Nero.
correct.
Yes,
Nero
LimeWire.
burner.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Because I was burning CDs of like Mehuna and like Ishq
Oh my
Vishk
god,
at
Nero.
that time. I think that is where it ended for me as well.
I
And
never. I.
the thing is,
Hmm.
my parents
Go.
still have a home theater system which has like a CD slot in
CD
it. So
slot.
we've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like a book, like a
Oh
like
yeah.
album book of
Oh,
like
Oh
CDs.
yeah.
album.
And even when I go home, there are CDs of movies. Not only that, but when I was young and we used to take like a lot of trips, mom would get like those photos. I don't know how they would end up, but like they would, from the digital camera, because we had a point and
Oh
shoot.
yeah.
So she would get the memory card, put it into the computer, like MP3, whatever, and she would burn it on the CD. So like I've actually got CDs at my home that say December trip
Yeah,
Konkan or
yeah,
December trip
yeah.
like Ganpati Pure. So yeah,
I
that
have that
yeah.
too. Yeah. I got.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just so
yeah.
that we could have like a slideshow on our home theater system. I was like this, and now that I think about it, I'm like, this is so stupid. We should have just gotten a cord and just like plugged it in.
Yeah.
But
No,
it
I
was
remember we
all of
had
those things like
VCD
that
cutter.
this physical
Sorry, you go,
form
you
of
go.
like this physical form of doing things, because it's so like you have all of this, you have that phase where you have 5-in-1 movies of some you go to somewhere rastevarti you catch
Yeah.
the CDs, latest movie you would have it on
Latest.
that CD.
Yeah.
My
I
my
remember
grandma.
Deccan Love is also near Z Bridge.
That
Like
bridge,
they used to sit there.
right,
Yeah.
right. And my grandma got a so आजीकडे एक DVD player आलेला. At home, I think even like when I got rid of my CPU this time when I went back because nobody was using it, I still had a CD player. We didn't have a DVD writer. So my cousins would have DVD writer, they would have Nero
Yeah.
and all of that. So I know that, but we still had a CD player. आजीकडे DVD player आलेला. So then we could rent, and then there were these guys who used to they could rent CDs. So I
Yeah.
still remember renting Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and getting those CDs on and putting it
And then
in.
the original used to be expensive to rent, and
Expensive,
then the
yeah,
cracked
expensive to
version
rent.
was
Cracked
cheaper.
was cheaper. Then you had these guys you would know that okay, no, this guy quality is nice, so you go
Yeah.
and buy it from him,
Yeah.
and all of those things. But like you said,
Oh my god.
this photos thing, I still like, even we have that album, some scribbled this trip, that trip, and you had all of these photos in. But I think the effort that you put into that kind of made it somewhat more memorable. Now it's like
I think so.
You have a Google Photos
I,
slideshow on
it's
and
so
things
true.
like
Like
that.
every time
Until
I
and then
watched a movie back then, like every time you watched a movie, it was memorable because you had all of that logistics behind it. Like you
Behind it, yeah.
planned, you got that movie, everyone got together, watched it because it had to go back the next day because
Yeah.
you don't want to pay
Exactly,
2 days
exactly,
rent.
right? Yeah, yeah, I agree. So like I think at that time it was probably a little more I, it was more worth it because you knew that you only had the CD for one day or you only had whatever. And I think it was a shareable experience, right? So it was like a collective experience to like watch a movie together or like get the photos on your screen and then everybody watches it. Because when you're transferring it or whatever, like my parents didn't know how to do it, so I was the only one doing it. Right now what's happened is because it's also accessible, like for example our US trip, right, Pete, we took all those photographs, but I haven't even seen them.
Oh,
I still haven't gone through all of them, right? So I've been thinking about this for a really long time now. Like, and I don't even have like a lot of social media on my phone at the moment. But I'm still struggling to sit down and go into like my albums folder and like just scrolling, right? Like I think, and now that I think about it, and I think I hate the scrolling. I don't want to do it. So I'm like, it's not worth it. But I think you're 100% correct that it's about the physical effort that you put into doing those things that made it more worth it or exciting, or like, you wanted to do it. So, yeah, true.
no, no, there was nothing called doom scrolling at that point because there was nothing to scroll. You
Scroll.
either
Yeah.
turned on the TV and watched what was on there, or you didn't watch anything. You went and read a book somewhere. Like there was no other option.
I
The
think we
only,
didn't
I
know.
think the whole
I
VCD.
think we didn't know, right? Because you think it's not like it wasn't there. Think about what YouTube was like then, right? We find it boring then, but those YouTubers who were like putting out those videos now are like millionaires in the US. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't know where this will go and stuff like that. But for example, somebody like David Dobronvik, or whatever his name is, Dobronic or whatever, like Lisa, like, that Liza, somebody's first boyfriend. He's just a YouTuber, and he's an incredibly famous YouTuber. Everybody knows him. He's friends with like Zed, who's the, like, he's the DJ. um oh my god, he's made like so many.
I don't know
Firestone.
any of these
Oh my
people.
god. Okay, so
Sorry.
We
he's
have.
got a store called Firestone. His name is Zed. They did like an AD magazine. So Architectural Digest did like a whole magazine thing on him and stuff. And then also after that, like David Dobronic released like a video of where they do like, oh, this is my friend Zed. And like, I was like, how do you have so much money? Like, you can't possibly be making millions of dollars of just because like some 200, 300K people are watching your videos on the like on the YouTube, on YouTube. It's insane. It's insane. Like, because when you think about it and when you look at like what the numbers look like, it's a fraction, right? It's a fraction of what they get. But I guess that's where when they do it like over and over, it kind of adds up. You
It
know what I
does.
mean?
Yeah.
So, and this, like, again, I think that David was a really bad example, but he's the first one that came to my mind. But like somebody like PewDiePie, or like all of these gamers who started doing this, right? Literally, people watching other people play a game that they
Okay.
could themselves go and play. Yeah. And like they were the pioneers of all of these things, right? People have
Yeah.
become like, there have now been generations of gamers who've become rich because they watched somebody like PewDiePie who did it, who was like probably the first guy.
Minecraft. I
So,
remember his all his streams were Minecraft before, and then he started doing like, and people started liking him because of the way he used to talk while he did his streams, and then he just stopped doing Minecraft. Like he did all kinds of other shit. It was hilarious, man. I don't even know if PewDiePie's still there. Like, is PewDiePie
Hey,
actually
what's up?
still
What's up?
there? I have no
Can you?
idea.
Hello, hello, hello.
hi Nino. So that you
Yo,
can you can jump in with the question: Is PewDiePie still
PewDiePie is
active? You would
still
know.
active, I would say. I mean, he's not much into gaming these days, but he's like more into vlogging and stuff because he's moved to Japan, I guess, like a year and a half back. The worst
oh,
part,
yeah, because he
I'm
married
pretty sure.
someone from Japan, didn't he?
He's got a kid and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
the
Yeah,
latest that I
he
heard, he
got
had
a
a
new
kid
kid.
as
I
well.
mean, he got a kid.
Got a kid.
Just went out to the market and just bought
If
a new
only, if
one.
only, yeah. So yeah, so he's into vlogging these days. The worst part is that he lives. I'm pretty sure he lives like almost near my place, but I don't know where he lives. I mean, that would be like borderline stalking, but
Ooh.
It's
Dude, I think
that
that
hard
has
to
to be your
spot.
next
Isn't he like a
mission.
tall guy? I'm not. There is no discrimination here, but like, isn't he like one of like? He must be one of the fewer taller, wider people in
trust me,
Japan.
there are
I
way
don't
too
know.
many. Way too many. There's been
Maybe
so many
that's what
tourists
I
here in
thought.
Japan. It's to be honest, it sucks. But
Oh,
yeah,
true.
and plus he doesn't ride the train as well, right? He doesn't ride the subway. He has his own car and stuff, so you can't even like hope to see him on the subway, I guess.
So you can't
Yeah,
even bump into him.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's probably the
yeah,
one thing he can't do. Like with all of his
yeah.
millions, he can't ride the train.
So, how's everyone?
Yo, yo, yo.
What's
Anyway,
everyone been up to these days?
just recording a podcast, dude. Nothing major. Just chill scenes.
Wait, he's gonna become famous.
I
I
Yeah.
just
don't even know if you're
putting it
actually
out
gonna
there.
upload this. I have
We're
no
just gonna
idea.
be the noobs who've
Dude,
like
upload it.
exposed
Like,
ourselves.
you could upload it on YouTube, man. Fucking hell. Like, just put it
We
out
could,
there.
we could.
We're 20 years
Totally.
too late. No, not 20, but probably like 30
It's
years
fine.
too
It's
late.
fine. Like, what if, like, guessing, I'm pretty sure at least like 20 years from now we'll still be in touch and just we could show, hey, look at your kids. Hey, we did a podcast.
Look, I'm fully supportive of any
Yeah.
direction, any
Yeah,
creative
same.
direction this
Yeah.
takes. I'm open for this to fail, get trolled, to get like, to whatever happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It's
I mean,
okay.
I in like
Oh.
that's what the first thing I said to him. Like, I inhale podcasts these days, and I'm like, I am so excited.
I would
to
say I'm on the
people
opposite end though. I haven't like
To
listened
be
to a
in one.
podcast in like ages, because back when I was supposed to
Oh.
come to Japan, I used to like listen to this abroad in Japan podcast from like Chris. Hold on, I forgot his name. Fuck. But yeah, still Chris Broad. Yeah,
Well,
but then
I'm
yeah,
currently
Chris Broad, I
sorry.
guess. Yeah, but yeah, I'm like totally on the opposite spectrum of the scene. I'm not much into podcasts and stuff, but yeah, seems fun.
Well, I'm probably similar to Nino at the moment because I have trouble listening to people just like talk about, like, I can't, like, if it's, and especially if it's like something that's not like so interesting to me at all. Like, for example, I've heard like a lot of food podcasts and I still do it. So like I'm listening to one called Gastropod. There used to be one really good called The Unbearable Lightness of Being Hungry, which was just like Lee Tran Lam talking to like all these chefs around the world that I've like worshipped for a really long time. But I was also listening to like Joe Rogan, right? So I heard like Joe Rogan talk to
Yeah,
Neil
yeah.
deGrasse Tyson, and that was one of the really good episodes. And then I was listening to some of his other stuff, but then it was Joe Rogan's episode are like an hour and a half. They just keep
Dude,
going
it's-
on
it's
and
sometimes,
on and
yeah.
on.
hour and a half is like a very small thing. They go
Exactly, I guess.
Small one, yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
but it's not. No, it's not like storytelling, right? Like it's like opinions, and like Joe Rogan has like scientific guests, like he has psychologists, he has like people who are doing like real work. So I'm like, I need to pay attention to this. But like driving to work for 40 minutes, it's going on for like an hour and a half. For the first 30 minutes, he's just like rambling on about like MMA or something like that. Or like they're just talking about something, and I'm like, no, dude. Like I can't. The other thing I can't really do is I can't really watch like I loved hearing Kenny Sebastian's Simply Ken.
Oh, you
Um
did. I actually didn't enjoy it that much.
I enjoyed the first few. So that was happening
Okay.
right during COVID and things. And he was talking about, I think he was going through some stuff. So he was working through it. And I think it was just his creative outlet to just like
Yeah.
share what he's going through, how he's working through it, which was really nice. But then, similar to what Tanmay Bhatt does, and they all get on that TV screen and they just like laugh at
Oh
stupid
man,
shit. I can't do it. I hate it.
I am obsessed with that. I
I'm
don't know,
obsessed
dude.
with it.
It's like
I
my
can't
guilty
cope with-
pleasure. I don't want to be.
exactly. I can't stop watching it.
Oh my
I
god,
am
that
mad.
guy.
So I'm gonna share a story, and I'm not gonna put any names, but we had a sleepover at my house a couple of years ago, and I think Tanmay, and this was like probably like peak COVID in India, so we were like still allowed to have sleepover, like people were still allowed to be here like together in groups
Wait,
and stuff,
your
like
place?
2021, 2022. But like obviously,
Your place in India or here in the
no, my place in
Then
Australia.
it's none of
My
us.
place in
Then it's
Australia.
none of us,
So
I'm pretty sure. But
2022.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not about
So no, it's not. It is nothing bad. It is nothing bad. So don't worry about it. So 2022, I think it's more relevant. And like we're just sitting in my house, and like in India, everybody's like still working remotely, not getting together in like 2021 then. But we were together. We had dinner and stuff, and then my friends were like, "Let's watch Tanmay Bhatt's videos on YouTube." And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And they put this on, and he's basically watching and reacting to these really ugly videos on TikToks and stuff. Like, just like really, like people.
Yeah, the cringe ones. Yeah, I remember
Cringe
The
this.
ones.
cringe ones, the ones which are like you can't understand the language. I mean,
That's
like
really
nothing is
not your
funny.
type of humor. Like I get you where you're coming from.
I get you
But
here.
like
Yes.
no, but they are like rolling around on the. They are like rolling. They're literally rolling around on the floor, laughing, and I'm just sitting there going, "What is
Yeah,
funny?
yeah.
What is funny?" And the same thing happened in the US as well, right? So like we are sitting in a group of friends, or like, and I
Yeah,
don't think you guys were there. Like even Pete wasn't there, but like the girls and I are sitting down and we're just talking about things, and like they're just rambling on and on about how awesome Tanbai Bhatt's videos are, and like they're like going on and on about how they watch them on YouTube and laughing. And I'm like, am I broken?
that's really not your type of humor.
Am
That
I
is
broken?
that is the too sharp kind of humor that you absolutely hate.
I don't hate it. I just don't understand it. I don't laugh at it.
Oh,
Like he's
oh.
just saying things in a
The
funny
too
way.
sharp kind of humor I've actually grown used to now. It's
Yeah.
like grown on me.
Now there
I
is.
I,
I
still
found
I'm
this
don't like
surprised
page.
to
that
Bhutkar,
fucking
to be
cat,
honest.
but
I
yeah.
found.
I never used to watch two sharp videos. Then Bhutkar is like, he watched this, what that. I was like, I mean, on the group itself, though. Yeah,
I found.
Yeah.
but they're
Now
really
there's
good though.
another
To
When
be
it
page
honest,
just
they're really
called.
keeps
good.
coming on the group, yeah.
There's a new page that I found called Janwar Bolte Hai. Oh God. Oh my God. I am mad about it. It is mad. And it's in Hindi and
Buddha has
ooh.
left this chat.
Oh.
Well, there's the thing, right? Like all those two sharp videos, what happened was I would watch them. Okay, it didn't grow on me. So Asani, I mean, look, I'll be very honest.
but
I try everything. So I'm not going to be like "Ki me two sharp no baktas mala like it's not like that. I've watched Tanmay Bhatt's videos. I've watched Kanan Gill's videos. Like I like the pretentious movie reviews that they did. That was good. But like Tanmay Bhatt and that Akash, Akshay, whatever, getting into a room and just like laughing at these random as TikTok videos, I was like, what does life come to? Like I don't want my life to be
So
like
that's the thing, right? Like
but I
about
think
these
this is
podcasts.
a
I
good
think
leeway. This is a good leeway into so we've gone from going from a Orkut, Facebook, YouTube, and now we're slowly
yeah.
coming to Instagram, and now how YouTube has taken over in during the lockdown and what people are doing. Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
cleaning up my
uh-huh.
place.
And honestly, it's okay. Nero, if you want, you
It's
can
fine,
turn
it's
your
fine.
camera off. We
I
won't
don't think
judge
no
you.
one
It's
gives a
fine.
fuck, but yeah. I don't think anyone gives a fuck, to be honest. Yeah.
No, but
I'd rather be sitting on a chair and doing this. But
I don't even know who's gonna watch it, dude. So it's fine. It's probably
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
us watching it. So it's
Yeah.
okay.
There's nothing no one's seen yet, but
But no, I think podcasts with Tanmay Bhatt especially, right? Like I got into his podcast when he used to do good podcasts about like just comedians getting together and talking about stuff they've done in the past. You remember he did one where they talked about Bollywood awards that they wrote for.
Yeah. I remember that one.
That
Yeah,
one I loved
amazing,
because I used to
amazing.
see these award shows and
Yeah,
I used to think that that was
and
all
it's
like
these guys
very
who've written it. All of these guys have written these
yeah.
shows and jokes
They've
and
actually
everything.
written all the jokes and they've done it such a good job because I used to love those. And that's how I got into his podcasting thing. And then I feel like I watch these stupid videos that he makes now only because of those memories of those good ones that he's
Yeah.
done in the past.
that's
I
well,
actually.
don't,
I just have
yeah.
I mean
Go on.
I,
That's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
there you
But,
go. There you go, Nika. Well, I think even though I might not like his idiotic videos, I think he's really smart in the way that I mean he's the one who's kept up with the technologies, right? We know people from the
He,
like I've seen people from like these kind of industries, or even you look at ourselves, like sometimes we are adopting it more easily, like we are early adopters, sometimes we're not. But somebody like a Tanmay Bhatt, who's been in the business for a really long time, is super creative. He's like smart. He knows how to like keep up because like obviously he's doing really well and he's relevant, right? People usually like where in an era where everything is a trend and everyone is a trend, like people come and go so easily. He's been the one consistent thing that has been like generationally, like he's influencing
Yeah.
generations of youth at the moment, right? So kudos to him for that. Yeah.
And he started it for a really good reason. Like he was down in the dumps and he started it doing stupid PUBG streams that were really
streams.
helpful to him
So yeah.
to get his mental state in right. and that is why everyone supported him initially, including me. Like I was like, dude, you this is a great way to get out there again.
Yeah.
And then it transformed into him getting to know this entire gaming community, getting them online
No,
into
so now
his.
you realize. So that's when I started watching, because I was playing PUBG with my school friends, and it was just four of us,
Yeah.
and so we were playing. But you started from there. But that trend, so it began. Okay, so that's one person playing. So essentially, he's bringing that trend from the US to India. Now you have all, in the lockdown, you have all of this geo and everything. So you've got the entire span of India playing all of these games, doing something online on their phones. And now he's tapped into that market. So now these guys are looking at things. Okay, okay, this is how it's happening. It has now gone on to, so it's just that. And why it became famous was because the bunch of comedians were playing PUBG. They were cracking jokes while that was happening. That's how it
Yeah.
got to, they started doing things. So instead of doing it just themselves on their phone, they started doing it on a fucking stream. And then,
Yeah.
they're watching that. It has got to Netflix. He does things for
Yeah.
Netflix now. So he does
Man.
react videos for Netflix officially. There is, if you go any new movie that Netflix launches, you have Tanmay Bhatt with someone, and they're watching the
Yeah.
movie, and
And
they're
then
making jokes
reacting to
about it,
these.
and they're
Yeah.
reacting to those movies, and that's like Netflix is paying him to do that.
Dude, can you what he's doing here is now he's become big enough that he's bringing
Bringing trends,
watchers
yeah,
to Netflix.
yeah,
It's not like Netflix bringing him anything
him,
anymore.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's bringing people there. He's got the people. Fuck.
Also, like, think about like something like a job. Like, I'm just looking at it from like an employment perspective thing. Look at the job creation part of it, right? I was like, who a few years ago, like, there were only like a few critics and people who were like doing this, but is this going like, there is literally a job now that like a media company is willing to pay you to watch something and react to it so that you will bring in more people to do the same. Like, that's ridiculous. Like,
No,
I
and
like
it's
it's
and the thing
happening, but
is, it's this kind of humor that people actually like. So they've made an advertising company like that. So all of the cred ads that you
Cred
see,
ads, yeah.
that's
okay,
Tanmay Bhatt,
yeah,
and
I know that.
there's some.
Oh, dude, you should look at those ads. They're actually really
The
good.
latest one
I
has
have seen I've
The
seen some of those.
latest one has Leander Pace using a Chinese racket killing mosquitoes in a
Mosquitoes, yeah.
hotel.
It's
And
hilarious, dude. Oh
it
my
is
god.
out, and it's people, they're liking that humor. Like
It's really
you
good.
imagine,
You should look it up. Yeah.
and
But
like
part of it is also like putting something out there that people are thinking but not actually doing, right?
it's
So
it's it's this fucked up kind of mindset. It's stupid humor. Like, you imagine Rahul Dravid in in
Swinging a
in a
bat.
car getting
Yeah.
really 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 angry. That's what they've written. Now
Something Bangalore ka gunda hu main or something.
if you put logic to it, then it's going to be, you know
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. But then it is stupid as fuck, but it's funny.
It is.
And they made
And
they
it's bringing two different groups of people together. It's
yeah.
bringing people who have been in the other community where they've always been online, they've always been watching stuff online, but they were never really into this whole comedy thing. And then there are all of these people who loved comedy but never actually watched online for hours and hours. And now all of these groups are together. And he's got such a huge audience because of it.
see, but I wonder if there's like a third kind as well who are just looking for reviews for something that they want to watch, right? Like
Yeah.
Also,
like,
yeah.
and that's it, right? Because I fall into that third category, right? Like, I think like this is more a reflection of where I don't know,
Yeah.
my comedic sense is going, because I don't watch a lot of humor these days. Like, I don't find stand up funny. I don't find like these videos funny. So I mean, it's just probably me, and it is me. But if I were to watch something nowadays, I often like look up reviews before I invest my time into it, so to speak, right? So if
Fair.
Tanmay Bhatt is officially doing this for Netflix, if I had to go and say watch Damsel, and I know Netflix makes like mediocre movies, I'm gonna look it up, and his video is gonna be there, and that's probably going to like bring a third set of people into the business, which is good for him.
Yeah.
I think I like. I mean, yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
really like smart. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm actually going to introduce a slightly different topic in here. So I have been watching Tanmay videos basically ever since I got here, and I always liked AIB before, and now I like Tanmay Bhatt. But what it's done is people in different parts of the world are watching very different things, right? Like I am pretty sure none of my neighbors watch Tanmay Bhatt. I can
I
guarantee
thought
this
Mugdha just walked
basically.
away.
One, none of this.
No, I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm just trying to drink a bottle of water. Sorry.
It's like fuck
Mugdha
this,
has
fuck this.
left the
I don't want
chat.
to go listen to that. Leaving fuck.
I'm here.
F
I'm
in
here. I'm
chat.
just filling my bottle of water. Sorry.
But can you like imagine what is this is like it's great that I can still watch all of these Tanmay Bhatt videos, something I really relate to. And I'm sure a lot of my neighbors are watching stuff online and they are online just as much as I am, but they are watching something completely different. So we've lost that one thing in common that we all had, right? Where we were all consuming the same content. Like,
But I think the thing is now that is true, but that I think for us it doesn't, like, at least, like, it's the same thing for me. I have consumed zero British content since I moved here, and I'm only, like, physically I'm here, mentally and emotionally and everything else, like my entire Instagram, and you probably guys know with the things that I share on the group. I'm still in I'm still in Pune.
Pune.
I'm still in Bibbewadi. But the thing is, I mean, just to keep the general thing of our podcast going, that how where we are going ever since COVID, where you're stuck in a room with just your computer and internet. It's given you that choice. No, it's given everyone that choice that, okay, like, for example, I want to watch this, I'll watch that. If Mukta wants to watch something else, she'll watch that. Nishan wants to watch something completely different. You have that. And I think before it was just like you didn't have a choice. You had to consume what your probably your cable operator had these 12 channels, and that's all you can watch.
yeah.
See,
At,
but I
at,
think
at one point too, yeah. What your cable operator wanted to show you at that moment
Yeah.
is what you
Like,
watch.
I remember there was a time when we used to, like, when we used to call him, hey,
Yeah.
can you put this movie today?
Can you put
And
this
then
movie on tonight? Yes.
he would put that movie on.
Special requests from
Yeah.
special people would be honored and none of the other ones.
okay, I didn't know that this was possible. Damn it.
Yes. Yeah. If like at the time when they were running the cable things, if you would come home to buy like come home for the monthly bill, and they used to go door to door and collect the money for the monthly bills.
Yeah.
There were times where my dad has just told, "What the fuck kind of movies are you putting? On a Sunday afternoon. Can you put something nice? Why are you putting these random things?"
Yeah.
So he wasn't happy with watching like Surya Vansham for like the 200th time.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
This was original NPS, like net promoter score. Like what the fuck are you doing?
No, but I think to approach this a little bit differently, right? Two things. One, I think programs that were meant to bring your communities together, they're still being broadcasted and people
Yeah.
still watch them
Watch
together.
them. Yeah.
So like I was in India for the 20 I was in India for 20 on 26th of January. Everybody had their DD on and everybody watched
Yeah. The parade. Yeah.
the parade, right? IPL is still like very big in India, and I'm only talking about India because I think most of us would relate better to those communities. Um, and I think people still watch cricket. People will still watch where every time India is like playing, like, and they'll try their best to get there as well. But every time India is playing whatever badminton or hockey or this or that, they'll still get together and like watch those things, right?
Yeah.
इलेक्शनचे रिझल्ट असतील तर
Oh
चॅनल
yes.
वेगळे चॅनल वेगळे असतील पण सगळ्या चॅनल्सवर इलेक्शनचे रिझल्ट
I
चालतील
guess
And everyone's watching that at that
this is the
point. Like
best when
nobody's
like
yeah.
during the peak time of COVID they started airing like Mahabharat on DD again. That was
Oh,
probably
yes.
the peak. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
Did they?
Yes.
They literally aired the whole
Yeah,
whole
Oh.
season.
we did
Yeah.
Mahabharata and Ramayana. They aired it
That was
again.
amazing. I mean, even after like what 25, 30 years, I guess, probably a long
Because
time.
people were
Yeah.
all watching, I guess.
That was pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I mean,
I
I've
think
always wanted to watch it, but
It's
I've never
surprisingly
watched it.
good.
My
I've never
It's really
watched
entire
good.
family,
Mahabharata.
I mean,
because it was
it makes you go
8 of
back
us
like
in the
20 years,
house.
25
We
years.
used to just that
And plus
makes you
it's
go
a great
back.
time to like spend with your
Yeah,
family and stuff, because definitely your family like is
family.
more used to like watching that kind of thing. But then still, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
आम्ही घरी कधी बघत नव्हतो असे एकत्र बसून
Yeah.
खूप टीव्ही बघितलं वगैरे, but then during Mahabharata and Ramayana we used to like just hang out and like
Mm.
watch
We
Mahabharata
used to
and
sit,
stuff.
yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Um,
I think sorry, we are very close to that 1 hour mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this recording because I don't want the whole thing to get locked behind a paywall. Yeah. Stop.